We have to go. Are you going to get cold? Andrew?
Yeah, in Scotland we call it the dry side. Much easier to count you here than the last trip. You know what the first question was? Do we go upside down? No, sorry. Yeah. Big disappointment, really sorry. There we go. Now, at the moment we are moving 1,800 tons of steel and water, and we're doing that on an absolutely tiny amount of electrical power. Tiny amount. Now, how is that physically possible, moving that weight? Anybody? Balance is the word. Well done. That's the word I was looking for. Balance. I need to check this bit now. As I said, we do get visitors from all around the globe, and I can't think of many countries that we haven't had a visitor from. So, is there anybody on board at the moment from the United States? Which parts?
Denver, Colorado.
Colorado?
Mesa, Arizona.
Arizona. Excellent. That means I can tell you about a lady from Kansas. She was actually on my boat last year, and I don't know if it was because she was from Kansas or she wasn't so bright, but she could not get this concept of balance at all. So we had a conversation, and what she said to me was, "What do you call this bit of the wheel?" And I said, "Well, think about it like a box of water. We call it the gondola." What does it weigh? She asked. 300 tons. Just this bit on its own. 300 tons. But what does it weigh when a boat comes in? 300 tons. Now, I just don't know what was in her head, but her next question, in all seriousness, was, yes. But what does it weigh when a big boat comes in? Of course, today, with all you folks on, we probably weigh about 65 tons. But when we came into the gondola, we pushed about 65 tons of water out. So the gondola still weighs. Well done, you see, you're clued up. We're already halfway up. We're passing the central axle. You saw the repair shop, that's where I took them through a few weeks back. The big roost, that guy actually. I had to push him up the ladders. How many of you got up this morning thinking, I'm going to be on a boat, floating on water, above the trees? There's not too many places you can do that. And this bit only takes us about 4.5 minutes. That's all. Replaces a system from many years ago. You'll hear all about it in the audio where we have going to use today. None? Well done. Because when we closed the gates behind us, we formed a box of water. We're taking a box of water up, we'll take a box of water down. The environmental people are very happy. And if we need to move water levels about, the actual movement of the wheel itself can act like a giant pump, and we can move water around at no cost. Simple. Here it is at the top and at the bottom, and we're going to push out a big stainless steel rod into a tube and lock the wheel together, so it physically cannot move. Brilliant. So far, so good. What we'd like to do next is there are 2 gates in front of us. We have to open those gates. We can't do it. Physically can't do it. Reason? The faraway gate, just look how much water it's holding back. Way along there, away through the tunnel, away around the corner. It's an enormous water pressure. So, what we're going to do, and you won't see this bit, is we're going to push out a rubber and neoprene seal. And it goes all the way down the sides of the gates and all the way underneath and back up, and we push it out on hydraulics. And it makes a seal between the concrete and the steelwork. Once we've made that seal, you hear the noise? That's us filling the gap in between the gates with water until the 3 water levels are exactly the same to the millimetre. And when we've done that, there's no pressure. We can open the gates, but not like your garden gate. Think about the gates like the pages of a book in parallel, like this. And they open in different directions. Why? Well, think about the gate behind us. Would you want it to be able to open that way? No, not unless you're a masochist and want to go back that way. So the gates are designed in opposite directions so that if a gate were ever to fail, it can only fail with the water pushing against it in the closed position. So your diving instructions are not needed. That's it in a nutshell. As soon as we leave, we'll pop on the audio and we'll leave you in peace till we get back to this point. I'm just having a look. I can see the kelpies, so that'll be good for us coming back. One thing I'm going to say to you is we're about 4.5 miles away, so they're going to...
The clever part is that the other gondola will also weigh exactly 250 tons as well. We are evenly balanced with them, and that means that it only takes a tiny bit of energy to get us moving around the central core of the wheel. We're balancing each other out. So while you might think it would take a lot of energy to lift 250 tons of steel, water boat out even, this is the first rotating boat lift in the world after all. So to test their theory out, they built a small-scale model. There was, apparently, almost the motorways of the day. But with the rise of the railways, the decline of the canals was almost inevitable. When we've turned around and gone back through the tunnel, you'll appreciate the views from there, looking out over central Scotland from a scenic vantage point. But for a moment, enjoy the canal sites, mythology of Scotland, but are also a reminder of the vast numbers of horses who worked on the canals, pulling barges for years on end. Today we run our boats on diesel. Compared to days gone by, it means that boats to the main level of the Union Canal, another 7 metres up, making the total height above our starting point 35 metres. System and the installation of the Falkirk wheel. The original Union Canal ended some 2 kilometres further on from here. It's a feat of engineering and construction laid out by the canal's designer Hugh Baird in the 1820s. Despite the canal from Falkirk to Edinburgh being over 50 kilometres long, there is a fault of just 2.5 centimetres between either end, all designed out of computer. It's important to remember that we're all part of a canal network, an agency of the Scottish Government. Any pocket we make to bringing the story of Scottish invention, adventure and world. The Millennium Link project saw these canals repaired and reopened, and at £84 million was Britain's most ambitious canal restoration project ever. In just 3 years, waterways were dredged, including removing 300,000 tons of silt, locks were replaced, 9 new locks built, and tow paths restored. There were also 35. It's amazing to think what that kind of investment can do. But it wasn't possible to reopen the locks joining these 2 canals. They were filled in and now have blocks of flats built on them. So a new solution was needed, hence the Falkirk wheel. Not only does it link the 2 waterways of 100 elephants, and it does all that in just 5 minutes, using the power of a few electric kettles. Amazing, isn't it? If you were thinking of getting one for yourself, do be aware that the price tag comes at a whopping £20 million. We're heading back into the gondola now, so that we can... It's impressive to think that the Falkirk wheel wasn't actually built as a tourist attraction. There was no visitor centre here originally, and boat trips like these didn't take place. But people came to visit the wheel out of their own curiosity. They came from all over the world to wonder at this architectural and engineering gem. So we designer Tony Kettle.
The Falkirk wheel appears to lift its head and take stock of its Scottish surroundings. It stands up proud and bold, emerging from the land as the skeletal frame of a long-lost prehistoric animal. It sits on a spine that connects the east and west coast of Scotland and says, "Scotland is whole once more." The wheel reverberates with the strength, passion, vision and the imagination that have underpinned the very best of Scottish culture since the 1700s. And, more importantly, it stands as one monument, celebrating the past, but also what may be possible in the future.
The boat moves onto a gondola, which holds them side by side. There are two gondolas, which always weigh the same, whether or not they carry their combined capacity of 600 tons.
If you were to go along the lower canal, the Forth and Clyde, for about a kilometre or 2/3 of a mile, you will come to Loch 16. And Loch 16 is the start of the locks going down towards the Kelpies over the next 3 miles or so. And at Loch 16, on your right-hand side, there's a big white building. There used to be a pub called the Union Inn. Yeah? Today, it's a big grassy area and there's a war memorial. But if you look at the pavement outside the pub, it's where the canals used to join. If you do go along there for some strange reason, I can't imagine why, you couldn't find the Union Inn, and you ask a local person, where's the Union Inn? And they look at you blankly. In the heyday, the business was owned by a lady called Kate Struthers. She was a bit unusual. She was a philanthropist, and in the winter time she used to take homeless people off the street and give them a free bed for the night. So she became known. So, question, anybody know the connection between the Kelpies and the Clydesdales? No? Okay then, let's start off. What's our national drink? So he decided, after a while, it was going to be cheaper to have his own stables and breed his own horses than it was continually buying them. You ever watched a puppy when it's about 4 or 5 weeks old? Tiny little puppy, but it's got huge big paws. Tiny. Excellent cover for snipers. We've got lots of snipers in Falkirk. They deemed it to be too dangerous for Her Majesty to travel on the wheel because they didn't get their own way. Too dangerous for her, but not too dangerous for me. The plus side is you can go back home and look your friends and family straight in the eye and you can say, I did something the Queen wasn't allowed to do. You'll be telling the truth. Now, because it's lunchtime, we're going to turn the boat here. I'll go and give Danny a hand. We're going to bring the boats together, and when we're ready, we're going to take you off through the other boat. Okay, so just sit down. Anybody got any final questions just before I go? Hang on, here we go. Real fun.
Thank you very much.
There is a toilet on board?
No, it's not working. It's not working.
Disappointed. Disappointed.
Thank you.